Hello, my name is Rich and welcome to That Gaming Show. Today I want to talk to you about Hollow Knight, the Metroidvania Dark Souls game developed by Team Cherry. And I remember when this was a Kickstarter as well, it didn't really appeal to me at the time. And even when it was released in February 2017, it didn't really shout out to me that I needed to play it. But being a human being, I've grown and developed taste for a challenge, or potentially it's a self-hate thing. So I decided to finally sit down and play this game, and I know I say this a lot in my reviews, but this is a brilliant game. So let's just dive straight into this. What is Hollow Knight and should you be playing it? So the game is set around our main protagonist called... Do you know, even after beating I still haven't got a clue what he's called. I mean, all NPCs call me Ghost, maybe it's Bug Knight or No Eyes. Anyway, it's set around your character, the speechless McMaskey, as you dive into the depths of the subterranean kingdom of Hallownest, and this is where the game is set around. And during those first few moments I kept asking myself the same question. What happened to this place and why am I here? And it's not really my preferred way of establishing a story. I like more of an outline of, here's your end goal, what we're trying to achieve, is there a motive? But the thing is, there's so much going on, and the game lets you kind of explore and gives you that freedom to look everywhere and talk to everyone and observe all the statues around, and you kind of uncover its secrets and lore as you go. There are loads of different sub-areas throughout the kingdom, which all feel different, but also have their own place in telling the story of Hollow Knight. You have the main capital, the City of Tears, you have the waterways, you have the welcome mat of Dirtmouth, and you also have Crystal Peak, the industry of the kingdom. And the cool thing as well is that most of the areas you visit you can do in any order and in your own time. However, there are areas locked out due to needing to find an ability or even a key. And as I said before, exploration is key and it's always rewarded. And as you travel around you meet the residents of Hallownest who tend to help you out most of the time, like with shops or weapon upgrades. And if you're unlucky, you may stumble into a boss fight, which is a huge part of the game. There is so much detail and lore everywhere. It's a deep cryptic story with loads of room for interpretation. It never really tells you the story at face value, but I think its secrets are worth unearthing. Oh dear, I'm attempting bug puns. And as you can tell, it's all about insects, and they are quite cute in their weird way. And I really like the characters in this game and their endearing, quirky noises they all make. My particular favourite is the map maker Cornifer, who does this really infectious hum when you're walking towards him. And I'll tell you, that noise always gives me hope that he's nearby, because as you stumble into a new region of the kingdom, you're in the dark sometimes, literally, and you need his maps to figure out where you are. So every new region I went into, my first thought was, where the hell is Cornifer? But it felt like I was progressing every time we crossed paths. It felt like a ritual to find Cornifer, get the map, and then fill it out and explore. But for those moments until you find him, it is terrifying. Because you don't know how deep you're going into this region before you get lost. It really gives you a sense of dread. And all you're doing is finding a map maker. That's all you're doing. And he could be anywhere. The visuals, if you haven't already guessed by looking at it, are beautiful. The painted backgrounds complement this style of setting, and I love the lighting on the different areas we travel to. My favourite is Crystal Peak, easily the best visually pleasing area in the game. If not, then Green Path is beautiful too. Deep Nest can go die in a hole. And I actually like the cartoon style of the characters. It adds a slight light-heartedness to an otherwise dark game. And combine that with a brilliant soundtrack, it's just got so much atmosphere. But where it counts as always with me is the gameplay. And it is a daunting game at the start I really struggled to get to grips with. I mean, I'm not the best at this game, as you can tell from the footage. I still struggle with timing for attacks even now. The controls are fairly simple that get more advanced as you progress and find abilities. For example, you can find these upgrades called charms that give you buffs and changes to match your playstyle, like a shield when I heal or thorns that shoot out when I'm attacked, which is my personal favourite because I get hit a lot in this game, so it's good that whenever I get hit, they get hit too. And the platforming as well gets easier as you find upgrades like the dash or wall jump, which is helpful in accessing new areas or even fighting boss battles. And let me tell you, there are a lot of boss battles in this game, and they range from fairly easy to anger-inducing hard that requires a lot of trial and error to finally beat. And I've got a short fuse as it is. I've really struggled with this game and its bosses, and they were my least and my favourite part of Hollow Knight. I'd always try and avoid them if I could, just because of how frustrating some of them are. But if you are struggling, then you can take a different route and come back to them at a later time when you find more charms and abilities, which I found to be a good method for me. And it does feel really good when you finally beat a really hard boss. I think one of my least favourites is the Soul Master. But when you learn their attack patterns and you struggle on through, it is incredibly rewarding. You can even save your game at checkpoint benches, which are this game's iteration of the bonfire. This is the place where you can equip your charms and get back to full health, but much like Jedi Fallen Order and Dark Souls, all the enemies come back, and when you die, you spawn back at the last bench you sat at. However, you now have to go back to where you died, kill your soul, and get back all of your money, which can sometimes be really annoying if it's miles away, especially if it's an area you haven't got a map for yet. And it's the same with boss fights. Most of my anger for boss encounters came from having to walk all the way back to them with multiple enemies in the way every time I died. It's the walking back I didn't appreciate. I'd have preferred checkpoints right outside the door so I can go straight in. Or sometimes you get into a rhythm of boss battle, you come really close, you get beaten, and you just want to go straight in and do it again. But you can't because you have to walk all the way to it. You know, use the anger against the boss, but that's just me. And on that similar note, I will say I got pretty far without any help, without looking up guides or tips. But after talking to one of my friends who's played it and completed it, and also watching videos as well, I've learnt that I've barely scratched the surface. Pathways I just completely ignore for some reason, upgrades that I could have got to make my life so much more easier, and it reminded me of classic games I used to play when I was a kid. You would play it over the weekend, go back to school and share the tricks and secrets you discovered with your friends, and then you'd help each other beat the game, which I found to be a nice added extra during my playthrough. Talking to my friend John about how far I've got so far, and he would fill me in on things that helped him out when he struggled playing the game. Have you gone to this place yet? No. Okay, well I'll put that on the list of things I gotta go do. It brought this weird social element, and the community of Hollow Knight is really quite welcoming. I've noticed the amount of help videos on YouTube, and it's never a case of you suck because you're struggling with this game, it's a case of let me help. And it's hard to kind of fault this game, I don't think it's perfect. Personally, I'd have liked a slightly better learning curve, and a goal at least as to why we're here and what we're trying to achieve. I understand that it comes later with exploration, and I guess the whole point of the story is to learn as to who you are and what is going on in Hallownest. But even a motive, are you an adventurer? Are you here to save the kingdom? It would have been nice to have that extra push, but this is nitpicking. It took me around 18 hours to get the main ending after exploring a lot, and I'm still playing it now whilst I'm making this review to try and get that coveted true ending. I'm still exploring, still fighting boss battles, and some of them at this point are becoming ridiculous. The Colosseum of Fools is the worst pain I've experienced in a really long time. I'm playing the Void Heart edition, so it's got all the DLC, all the extras up to this point, so I'm really fighting an uphill battle. I doubt I'll get Platinum, which kinda sucks because of how far I've got in this game, but we'll have to wait and see. I've come to appreciate, as the game has gone on, what it is. As soon as I took my review ahead off, I understood it better. Rather than trying to rush it to make my review, it finally clicked. Take your time with it, as much as you need, because it's got a lot to give that I've not nearly shown you enough of. And also because I don't want to spoil it. And I say if you want a challenging game, rich with beauty and lore, then look no further than Hollow Knight. I can guarantee you'll be just as hooked as I am. Even if you aren't into Metroidvania games, just give it a chance. Hollow Knight, it's a game you should be playing. And as a last side note, they'll be releasing a sequel, hopefully in the near future, called Hollow Knight Silksong. It was meant to be a DLC, but they put so much into it, it's now its own game. So keep an eye out for its release day. So what do you think of my opinions? Do you have opinions of your own? Then please let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like. And also feel free to subscribe to the channel as well for more videos like this coming out very soon. Either way, thank you very much for watching. My name is Rich, and I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ra! Before you go, make sure you check out these other videos I've made. I've got a review of Jedi Fallen Order, and a video where I drink coffee and play Link's Awakening. It's weird, but it works.